Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Gran Turismo 7 Daily Race Race and Strategy Guide, where we're off to Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit and we're in the Group 4 machinery as expected. Settings for this one, we've got 11 laps to get round, which is a little bit disappointing, which you'll see why later on in the video. Tyre wear is at ×5, fuel is at ×1, just the racing medium tyres available. There is a mandatory pit stop in this one. We've got the BOP on low, first daily race with the new BOP after the update last week as well, so should be a little bit interesting in that regard. Damage is light, it's a rolling start, slipstream is real, and there is setups available in this one, which I'm sure will please just as many people as it annoys. Now, not our first rodeo around Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit in the Group 4 machinery. It's at least the third time, could well be more than that. It's not a bad race overall, can be enjoyable, close racing, deadly circuit. There is definitely fun to be had in this one. But we're into the 7 o'clock race as we normally manage to get into, except for last week, so kind of back to normal. We're in the Ferrari now. We did a 58 lap race around Brands Hatch in the Group 4 machinery the night before. As an endurance race, I used the Ferrari, so it made sense for me to use the Ferrari in this one. But there's a good selection of cars, quite a few Renault Megane trophies. I despise that car, I just see that car as a little cockroach, I'm going to be honest with you. I actually just get angry when I see it. I'm not sure why, it just annoys me, the fact that it's in Group 4, and not so much the characteristics of that car in Gran Turismo 7, but in GT Sport it was such an irritating car to drive with its stupid little acceleration out the corners, OP tyre wear. Yeah, I grew to really dislike that car in GT Sport, and I've kind of carried over that dislike of it into GT7. You might see, you know, I tend to be a little bit rough with them as this race proceeds. But coming into turn 2 here, Muscafi kind of goes for an optimistic move down the inside, so forcing me to go a little bit wide, losing time to Tidgney in front of me. So Tidgney and the TCR boys are out in force in this one, as they always are in the 7 o'clock split. But yeah, I got kind of sidetracked there talking about the Renault Megane trophy, but there is a good variety of cars in this one. There's an Alpha 155, there's a couple of Caymans, there's McLarens, Shelties up in a Scirocco. I'm pretty sure there's a Supra right at the back as well. So good variety of cars in this very first race, but I'm sure as the week progresses, a car will become dominant and it will become not maybe quite much a one make, but certainly you know how these races unfold. But it is nice to not have that Mazda 3 contaminating the Group 4 field for a change after the BOP updates, although I'm not sure this would have been the best track for that car anyway. But anyway, we're coming to the end of lap 1 here. Let's get back to the race, and as expected, a couple of drivers here are going to dive into the pits. We've got Tidgney and we've got Muscafi behind us in the cockroaches, jumping into the pits at the end of lap 1. Now I very much expected that, because I could see from the settings and from what we did last night that it was going to be fairly easy to get through this race without changing your tyres. So at the end of lap 2, we'd caught up to the pack in front. They were kind of holding me up, and I decided to come in for that pit stop myself, which is going to turn out to be a little bit of a mistake, and we'll talk about why it's going to be very difficult to find clean track in this race, because the pit loss is incredibly short. If you change tyres, your pit loss is 11 seconds. If you don't change tyres, your pit loss is 8.5 seconds. Now, there had been a couple of cars that binned it at the end of lap 1 or at the start of lap 2, and I think that's a couple of the cars in front of us, and I think Tidgney has got caught up on them, because we actually, had I been a little bit more assertive into turn 1, we could probably have stayed ahead of Tidgney, but we were quite compliant. But we did sort of stay ahead of Muscafi, who made a pit stop at the end of lap 1, and then Muscafi goes for a bit of another optimistic move down the inside of me there, which I'm not going to lie, that was the second time in this race he kind of stuck that cockroach down the inside of my car. And yeah, as I said, that car just makes me angry, and I was a bit peeved off at this point, I'm not going to lie, because it was the second time he'd done it, and you know, I was kind of I'm trying to kind of work with the cars in front of me. I've got them, two cars going side by side. I was in the middle of the road, I kind of in towards the inside of the track. I didn't really think there was too much of an opportunity to go for the move, so yeah, I'm trying to not hit the cars in front, and I've got people diving the car up the inside. But yeah, Muscafi unceremoniously gives me no space on the exit of one of the corners further on in the track. So let's just say everything is all even Stevens at this point between myself and Muscafi, and we go on here to have a bit of a ding dong of a battle. So yeah, I kind of launch one down the inside of turn 1 here. I always say if you're going to launch a move, then launch it properly. So we go deep, it allows Muscafi to go back up underneath us, losing a lot of time here, of course, because if you remember, we were behind Tidgney when we came out the pits, and Tidgney is now 4 cars in front of me. So just losing barrel loads of time here when we should really be trying to you know, having made that early pit stop, not change the tyres. We're kind of, you know, you're trying to be fast here at this point, because the whole aim is to try and get an undercut or to try and jump drivers up ahead who are going to be changing the tyres. So just battling this way is just detrimental for your race. But I think both myself and Muscafi here were maybe driving a little bit peeved off with each other. Certainly, I would admit I was a bit triggered here. Tilted, I think, might be the word. I hear streamers and YouTubers use the word tilted. Maybe I was a little bit tilted. So we get up the inside of Never Quit, who Muscafi kind of went down the inside, so we were able to capitalise on that. We take a look round the outside of Muscafi into a couple of these corners. Not really going to work. We get a run here on Muscafi down into the last corner. I'm going to stay on the inside here just to try and compromise his line into the last corner and onto the main straight. So it's a good battle. It was a hard fought battle. There was definitely elbows out, but at the end of the day, we're both still on the track. We're both still in the race. Taking a look round the outside of turn 1's never going to work. Now the idea was to try and get the cut back here, which we successfully managed to do. We're going to take a look up the inside. We brake on time. Muscafi goes deep on the brakes, trying to keep the position, and we are going to emerge as victorious in this battle here. Now I did think I was a little bit faster. I did have a lot of experience of driving the track from the day before, so I was confident I'd be a bit faster than Muscafi. That did prove to be the case as we pulled away, but unfortunately we are going to get taken out by a rejoin here of one of the cockroaches, and I'm talking about the car, not the driver, talking about the car, as they go off the track. We'll take a look at that one a little bit later on in the video, exactly what happened. But that was one of those incidents where, you know, I could just see that happening. As soon as that car went off the track, where I was in proximity to them, I knew they were going to hit me when they rejoined the track. I did my very best to give them room on the inside. Now, I don't think it was entirely their fault, to be honest with you. I don't think they really had much choice or much control of the car at the point. But we'll take a look at it at the end of the video. But yeah, we kind of rejoined behind Mario Sonic in the Cayman. We were a good bit faster, we just couldn't quite get the move done. And you can take a look at my tyres there. We've got about a third of the tyre left, so plenty of tyre left on the Ferrari, which is definitely not the best car. But we finished this one in P9, one of the drivers up ahead, picking up a 1 minute penalty. Read the rules, folks, read the rules. It's a P9 finish in the end, but 16 minutes 47.9 for the winner. A very, very, very short race indeed, and that's why, yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed with 11 laps. This could easily have been 13 laps. It would actually really have made the probably forced you to kind of change the tyres, and probably opened up the strategy a little bit in a way, because a pit window, there'd been a sort of much bigger pit window as into when to change those tyres. As it is though, as a no tyre change versus the tyre change. Let's take a look at the strategy options, talk about the pros and cons, and I'll give you my recommendation as to how I think best to do this one. So your first option is the one stop with the no tyre change. You'll save 2.5 seconds in the pits by not changing the tyres. It's 1.6 seconds versus 4.1 seconds, I believe. You can check that in the time trial. Do practice a couple of pit stops in this one as well. Tricky pit lane, very easy to get wrong. I would definitely recommend having a few practices of entering the pits. This also gives you the flexibility, I guess, to stop at any lap, but it's very difficult to find a clear track because the pit loss is so short. And this is one of the things I used to always argue about, why longer pit stops are actually better for strategy than short pit stops, because when the pit lane loss is really short, you just tend to always find yourself in traffic, very hard to find a clear track. Your other option is to do the tyre change if you happen to be really bad on tyres. You can stop between laps 3 to 7, I guess, but optimally you're looking at laps 5 and 6. It will cost you 2.5 seconds. With the close racing, likely going to cost you track position, but you will have a small tyre advantage towards the end of the race, although my gut instinct suggests that it just won't be significant enough to make overtaking cars very easy at all. So my recommendation for this one is to not change the tyres. I do appreciate that some people are not very good in tyres and maybe will have to go for the tyre change strategy, but I just think that 2.5 second loss with the close racing and try to overtake cars at this track is probably worth the sacrifice of not changing the tyres. But yeah, let's move on, take a look at some of the incidents in this one, so exactly how my race got completely ruined. So we've got Mario Sonic in the Porsche now. Mario did look like a bit of an accident waiting to happen for large portions of the race, so he just loses it into the fast right-hander. Apologies for not knowing the names of the corners. Now it looks like the Renault Megane Cockroach took avoiding action on Mario Sonic and maybe got a little bit of a tap, a bit of a weird one, but Metal Ape goes off the track there. As I said earlier on in the video, I don't really think there was a lot they could have done about the rejoin there. They just weren't quite in control. But yeah, I just knew this one was coming. You can see I tried to give loads of room on the inside. I could just see the way that car was coming onto the track, that they were going to make contact with me in the corner. But what could I do? You know, I could either try and go wide to give them room to come back on, and I can try and cut back down the inside. But you know what the view's like, you can't really see exactly what's going on to the side of you. But yeah, my race was ruined by that, but it's all good. And a nice battle with Muscafi, even if it was a little bit of an angry battle, certainly from my side. But overall, should be a pretty decent race, folks. Looking forward to it. Should be able to try some different cars. Thank you for watching the video. Hopefully it's been useful in some way, shape or form, and I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.